For the first time, the mysterious and secretive nation has threatened a preemptive nuclear strike against the U.S. It comes as the UN approves tough new sanctions.
In early 2018, retired Navy Admiral James Stavridis said there was at least a 10% chance of nuclear war between the U.S. and North Korea, with a 20 to 30% chance of conventional combat with casualties in the millions. That's a hot start to the video, don't you think? Things have definitely changed over the past 2 years, but there are still simmering hostilities between the two countries. COVID-19 and rising tensions between the United States and China have taken over most conversations at the moment, but if Pyongyang starts missile tests again or makes threats towards any ally of the States, things could start to spice up.
Hopefully it would never come to nuclear war though, but
Hopefully.
It's a possibility. Both Donald Trump and Kim Jong-Un have threatened to fire nukes at each other before, along with plenty of other vague threats. So what would happen if the United States struck first? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing in today's video. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan.
And I'm Keegan Hughes.
And today we're going to be asking a really destructive question. What if the USA nuked North Korea?
Make sure you stick around to the end for some bloopers and bonus content, and let us know if you're liking our collab videos. Perfect, let's get started.
North Korea and America have been feuding for years. Both parties have threatened each other in some way. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-Un has been doing nuclear missile tests for years. He claims he has some powerful weapons that he could destroy the states with. America has typically responded to these threats by enacting sanctions. Since 2006, the UN Security Council has been sanctioning North Korea for developing nuclear weapons and for conducting tests. Some of these sanctions include a ban on trading weapons and military equipment, or freezing the assets of the people involved in the nuclear testings. The objective of these sanctions is to get North Korea to denuclearize, but clearly they haven't backed down. And now, with Trump as president, the tension between the two countries is rising. They both want to be the most powerful country in the world. On multiple occasions, Trump has said that he's not afraid to send over nukes. North Korea doesn't scare him, and he is prepared to fight with fire and fury, which is scary. What if he went to the extreme to try and eliminate his frenemy and competition? What if he stopped threatening Kim and actually sent over a nuke? The first thing that comes to my mind is that millions of innocent lives would be lost in this battle. So if America did send over a nuke, then they probably would send it to North Korea's capital city, which is home to 1.5 million people. Those people would pay the price. Having no way to defend themselves, they would be blasted apart in seconds. Those that don't die directly from the nuke would later die a slow, painful death from radiation poisoning. Exposure to high levels of radiation include hair loss, bleeding from the mouth, internal bleeding, ulcers, delirium, and you can fall into a terminal coma. Death would follow in a couple of days. Meanwhile, Kim Jong-Un would be hidden safely away in some bunker somewhere, but he wouldn't be able to survive forever down there. In fact, he might get killed from all the oxygen being sucked out of the atmosphere from the nuke.
Regardless of actual impact, the propaganda put up by both sides would be incredible. Following a US nuke strike, if it does indeed happen, both sides would go into immediate damage control. We've seen what Washington and Pyongyang can do to keep their images as pristine as possible, so following such a destructive act, there would be a lot of explaining to do. The states would likely claim it was a totally necessary thing to do, regardless of how much destruction it caused. Of course, it would take a lot to make them fire nukes, so it would probably be easy for them to point fingers at North Korea for whatever dangerous behavior they were exhibiting. I'm not so sure that anything warrants the use of nuclear weapons at this point, but you can be sure that the folks in Washington would come up with a very compelling reason. To convince your populace that mass murdering people with giant bombs was a good idea would be tough, but there would be a considerable effort to make this happen for sure. Convincing the rest of the world that it was worth it should be difficult too. Who knows, maybe the states would head down the path of being an insulated nation following the attack. Friends are hard to find after you launch nukes in 2020, I would assume. For North Korea, the spin would have to be way different. They tend to mislead their people as well as the world at large in many different ways, so it's likely that they would play the attack down and make it look smaller than it was. Regardless of the actual effect of it, they would want to appear strong and safe. Hell, they might even deny that the nuke touched down at all, or they say that it did and it was underwhelming and they're going to respond with 10 times the firepower. If Kim Jong-Un did die in the attack, which is unlikely because he'd probably retreat to a safe place at first sign of trouble, they'd probably hide that too. All hail the glorious People's Republic. Either way, it would be likely difficult to get the full story from either side.
So if America did nuke North Korea, the country would literally be in shambles. It would be destroyed and highly unsafe to live there. Take a look at Pripyat. After a terrible nuclear accident at the Chernobyl nuclear station in Ukraine, the city of Pripyat became a ghost town. Pripyat was the most affected by the Chernobyl nuclear disaster since they were the closest to the power plant. They were the ones most exposed to the radioactive chemicals. It's been over 3 decades and Pripyat is still considered radioactive and dangerous. The same thing would happen to North Korea. Thousands of people would be forced to evacuate their homes and probably never get the chance to return. Many would be left homeless, not sure where to escape to. Not only that, but the whole country would be chaotic. If America successfully killed Kim Jong-Un during the attack, then they wouldn't have a leader. If Kim dies, chances are his sister and his generals would also die with him, unless they had some sort of bunker that managed to keep them all safe and alive. But let's say that they didn't survive. Well, the country is leaderless and destroyed. It's gonna get crazy there. You got millions dead and millions scared, not knowing what will become of their country without a leader. Okay, but let's say they did have a secret bunker that kept them safe for weeks. Until they were in the clear and could get out, in those weeks, the country is still leaderless and not being run by anyone. In all honesty though, Kim Jong-un seems like the person that would hide out in his bunker for months while he lets his generals deal with his country's mess and let them get exposed to the radiation.
Another thing to consider is the global ramifications of a nuclear attack. Who would take whose side? Would countries place sanctions on the US for attacking, or would they quietly nod along, figuring that it would have happened eventually? Or maybe, and this might be crazy, other nuclearized nations would fire off their payloads as well. Whether as an act of retaliation or in some crazy accidental Dr. Strangelove situation. You know, nukes flying in all different directions all across the world, bringing untold death and destruction to all. There's gonna be all sorts of planning to do as world leaders escape to their underground bunkers and start worrying about how to get ahead of the mineshaft gap. Could be fun. But realistically, there would be plenty of political issues stemming from a US nuclear attack. Many countries who committed to denuclearization at some point would feel betrayed and may begin stockpiling nuclear weapons once again. You know, just in case. Nobody wants to get caught flat-footed bringing a Predator missile to an atomic bomb fight. That would push a lot of nations in the opposite direction of what the UN's been working so hard to achieve. Whoops. Now everybody needs a nuke. I suppose that's been true for a while now, but it looked like that might eventually change. Well, not if the US drops a nuke anytime soon though. The US would likely feel the sting too. Trade and military partners might see the nukes drop and feel a little less safe, although if any country can get away with using bombs of that caliber, it is the States. Would sanctions be placed? Would US leaders be called out and possibly even tried? It's hard to say. The US does wield a lot of influence and North Korea is not well liked in the international community. It's a very strange situation, this one.
I agree. It's clear that America sending over a nuke would do more damage than good. So let's hope that that doesn't happen anytime soon. 2020 has been a pretty devastating year. Let's not add nukes to the list of things we need to worry about.
Yeah, that would just be like a cherry on top, wouldn't it? A nice, bright, mushroom-shaped cherry.
December 31st.
That would be fun. You know, ring in the new year, the ball drops, the nuke drops, we all cry.
The ball drops, the bomb drops. Oh no.
But I mean, really, like, it has to be like a low risk thing right now. Like, I don't think anybody's thinking about actually throwing a nuke towards anybody else.
I don't think so. Let's hope not. And that's all for today's video. Let's move on to our comment shout out portion. We'll be reading comments from the video Top 10 Scary Lovecraftian Horror Monsters from Space.
Noah Dennis asks, what if Sausage Party became real?
The movie?
Yeah, you know, with the food, you know, going to town on each other.
Yeah, I watched the first 30 minutes with like my family and I was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna be in the other room. You guys can continue.
You didn't watch the last 30 minutes with your family?
No, is it?
That's like, that's the food or.
Oh,
yeah.
Great. You know, I'm gonna go put that on.
Yeah.
Go
great.
home. Hey, fam.
Mom, Dad, great news.
Mashville commented, what if? Is that really the comment that you chose?
Yeah, I thought it's very existential, you know?
I bet they were high when they typed that.
I bet you they were stone cold sober, imagining they were high.
What if
That's
high?
SMWDKC8594 says, what if the Disney characters were real, especially the villains, since they love Halloween?
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool.
Cruella de Vil would kill Halloween.
Oh my gosh,
she would
her
kill a lot of dogs
outfit?
to do it, so. Maleficent would do a good one too.
Oh, she'd be sick. She's sassy. I love her.
Yeah. Although I feel like every day, like she kind of like gets like a wicked costume going. Like her outfits are like on, you know, X Games mode.
David Espinoza commented, man, this is exciting.
Yes.
There you go. You did a good video there. No exclamation points though. So maybe it was just,
it's
man,
true.
this is exciting.
Maybe it was sarcastic.
Maybe it was sarcastic. Damn it, why you gotta do that to Keegan? It was your video, right?
It was. Yeah. Honestly, the comments on that one, not too spicy.
Go comment something spicy.
Comment something really spicy
in this video so that we can react to it. Alright, that's all the comments we're shouting out for today's video. Make sure to comment something spicy down below so we have something to read next time.
Thanks for checking out this video. Let us know if you want us to do more collabs in the comments as well. I've been your host, Keegan Hughes.
I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan. Stay curious, YouTube.
Peace.
Have threatened to fire nukes at each other. Oh, you wrote this, that's why. No, I'm kidding.
Make sure you stick around to the end for some bloopers and bonus content. Wow. They might even deny that the nuke touched ground and touched down. Oh my goodness.
Many would be left homeless.
All right, and that is, I'm always terrible at outros. I can't ad-lib this kind of stuff.
I got this, don't worry. Top 10 scary Lovecraftian horror monsties.
Monsties.
Horror monsties from space.
That makes them less scary. Monsties.
Jared just said that pepper is spicy. Is it?
What kind of pepper though?
It's not. Cayenne pepper. A little. No.
Ghost pepper. You see those ghost pepper donuts this year? I don't know. I think it's at Dunkin' Donuts though, so we don't get them in Canada.
My mouth is watering. You know when you think of like salt and vinegar chips and you get that feeling?
Like right back here.
That's what I'm feeling right now.
Feeling it.